The strangest thing about spiritual life is this: the more you strain, the less life yields. The moment you stop grasping, grace appears. You have proven it, and so have I. Cling to a person and you lose them. Clutch at $1 and it thins like mist. Hold your breath in fear, and even the air seems to abandon you. Let loose right now. Release it, loose it, and let it go. Be still and know that I am God. Not in the sky, not in the street, but the kingdom of God is within you. I of my own self can do nothing. It has to be God's grace. So it is that when effort ceases, the door God uses swings open of itself. We have been taught by disappointment and by our own pride that surrender is defeat. You know, the feeling shoulders slump, the voice inside says, I guess nothing works, and we call that surrender. That is not surrender. That is despair, and despair has no God in it. True surrender is not passive at all. It is an active yielding of the inner reins, a deliberate turning away from the object of fear to the presence that is the life of all. It is not lying down on the battlefield. It is laying down the sword, because not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. It is not giving up. It is giving God room. How do you measure if you have actually done it? Not by your words, not by how pious or correct your statements are. Not all the truth that is written in the books will heal a simple headache. Measure by the sign the Master gave. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. When true surrender has taken place, a felt quiet displaces the clutch. A warmth, perhaps a breath that sighs itself, the sense that the urgency has been lifted off you. These are the fingerprints of God's activity. Without that peace, you are still holding the wheel. Let us prove it now. Choose one thing, just one that has taken your sleep. A letter waiting for reply, a child late from practice, the account that does not balance. Hold it before you, and for this moment, do not ask God to fix it. Do not even ask God about it. Turn within and say, Father, thou art, and be still. Wait. If a scripture floats up, fear not, for I am with you. Let it be a handrail, not a demand. Wait until the inner assurance dawns, however small. If it does not, keep still a moment longer. We are not making something happen. We are making room for what is already happening to be recognized. Years ago, a woman named Miriam sat in a back row with the weight of a shop rent on her chest. She had counted the till every hour, and the figures fell short. I said nothing to Miriam and nothing to the rent. I sat in the silence and waited until that sweet, causeless peace rose. She told me later that before any customer came, the pressure snapped like a thread inside. Only then did 2 old customers return with their easy laughter, as if answering a call they never heard. Did my thought send them? No. Christ did not send customers. Christ was the law of harmony in that shop, and when Miriam stopped grasping, the Christ had room to be itself as supply. Now, do you feel a little loosening? Then trust it. If not, do not turn to more words. Turn to more waiting. Peace, be still. That word is not spoken to the storm out there. It is spoken to the storm in here. The moment effort ceases is not laziness, it is holiness. It is the open door God uses. And we begin here together, humble, quiet, confessing, I can of mine own self do nothing, and consenting for the activity of God to do all. Now, let us be very clear about this surrender, because some of you have mistaken resignation for holiness. Resignation is heavy, hopeless, and cold. It says, I guess there's nothing I can do, and it leaves you in a gray hallway with no door at all. True surrender is light, assured, and warm. It is the quickening that comes when you whisper, Father, thou art, and something within answers, peace be unto you. Not a chill, but a warmth. Not a slump, but a softening. My peace I give unto you is the sign, not the outcome, not the outer change, the peace. Now, we are not seeking things. Hear that well. The more you try to demonstrate supply, the less you will have of it. The more you reach for a person, the faster they slip through your fingers. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. We do not reach for the added things. We do not pray for the crumbs. We consent to the bread itself, the living presence, knowing that forms will appear as byproducts of God, being God in the midst of us. Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things. Health and supply are not entities out there. They are qualities of God realized here. Let loose right now. Release it, loose it, and let it go. Whatever picture you have been clutching, bank balance, diagnosis, the face of one you fear to lose, open your hand. I of my own self can do nothing. And you know it. Say it, feel it, and then wait. Be still and know that I am God. Then wait, for it has to be God's grace. It has to be the Father within that doeth the works. We are not giving up. We are giving God room for the law of harmony to announce itself where strain had been pretending to govern. How shall you know you have not merely abdicated, but surrendered? The urgency dissolves. The inner clamor quiets. You find you can wait without watching the clock, and that is your credential. Only then do you step, if a step is given, and the outer scene adjusts of itself. A letter that needed writing writes itself through you. A phone call you had been fearing becomes unnecessary, or the very person you released comes with new laughter. Why? Because consciousness is one, and the realized Christ in you becomes a law of harmony unto all that concerns you. So, for this moment, do nothing but yield, not to fate, never to fate, but to God. Put the outcome on the altar and seek no sign but peace. When that inner assurance dawns, however slight, rise and live this day from it. Let it guide your hand to or from action. And you will prove a simple law. When personal effort ceases and stillness is honored until assurance appears, the realized Christ acts and peace replaces strain as natural adjustment follows like a shadow following the light. Now, let us be very honest with ourselves. The words we love, even the holiest words, do not heal. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. You can memorize every page you own. You can recite truth through the night and wake in the morning with the same ache and the same fear. Not all the truth in your books will heal a simple headache. It has to be God's grace. It has to be the activity of the living Christ in the midst of you. There are no such things as many demonstrations. There is only one demonstration, the realization of the Christ. We think we need a demonstration of rent, and another of employment, and another of health for this knee and that tooth, and a separate one for a son in trouble. No. These are the shadows on the wall. The one thing needed is the dawning of the inner assurance that God is, that Christ lives and moves and has its being in your very consciousness. When that is felt, not merely named, the wall of shadows rearranges itself without your counseling it. So hear this paradox again. There is no supply and there is no health in and of themselves. Both health and supply are qualities and activities of God. Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things. The attempt to get a thing is to confess you haven't recognized the presence from which all qualities flow. The attempt to perfect a body by mental statements is to forget the life that is the body of God appearing. Turn from the object to the source, and you will find forms lining up as quietly as birds in morning light. A friend came to me once with a stack of affirmations, neatly typed and folded, a portable altar in his pocket. His head pounded. His business trembled. He had been repeating lines on peace, on prosperity, on divine order, and the more he spoke, the tighter his chest became. I asked for no recital. I dropped his name. his business, his pain, and sat until there was that sweet, causeless warmth, the sign that the Father is on the field. He told me later that the headache left while he was washing a cup, and a solution to his account appeared as if someone had inked a missing column. What happened? Not the victory of right sentences. The realized presence announced wit itself as order and peace. My peace I give unto you, and the law of harmony followed like a shadow follows a body. Now, we do not despise the letter. A scripture can be a doorway. Be still and know that I am God. The kingdom of God is within you. Let these not be slogans to push the world around. Let them be a bell that calls you inward. Our work is not to accumulate statements, but to become receptive to the risen activity within consciousness, to Christ buried in the tomb of your mind, but Christ risen in your consciousness. I of my own self can do nothing. Feel that until humility opens the gate. Then the Spirit, not the sentence, performs the work. So it is that results come not from the words we speak about God, but from God realized as the very life speaking within us. Be still, wait. Let the living presence do what the letter only points to. Now, the method is simple and it is singular. Withdraw your attention from the person, from the condition, from the ledger, from the body. Loose it, let it go. Do not take their names into your silence. Do not try to send a thought. Do not argue with appearances. Do not push at shadows. Turn wholly to God. Sit down on a chair, on the edge of a bed, with hands in the suds, if that is where you are, and lift the heart within as if you were answering a bell. Be still and know that I am God. Then wait. Wait without agenda. Wait without a clock. We are not waiting to get a result. We are waiting to know God. We are not waiting to make something happen out there. We are consenting to recognize what already is here. The kingdom of God is within you. Let that be the only interest now. If your mind rushes to the child, to the bill, to the diagnosis, gently set it down again. Father, thou art, be still. Then wait. How long? Until there is a sign, not in the world but in you. Sometimes it will be a word, quiet, unforced, as if breathed from the center. It is I. Be not afraid. Sometimes it is no word at all, but a soft settling, a wave of peace as causeless as dawn light, a warmth that permeates the chest and loosens the grip of urgency, a breath that seems to take itself and release you. Sometimes a smile rises up for no reason, or a tear that washes strain without sorrow. These are markers. They say, the Father is on the scene. My peace I give unto you. Do not manufacture them, receive them. If they do not come at once, do not reach for phrases to force God to speak. Be still, wait. When that inner assurance registers even the size of a mustard seed, do nothing outward until then. Let the unseen activity of the Christ go before you. If there is a call to make, it will be given after the peace, or you will find there is no call to make at all. If there is a step, it will come with grace upon your feet. If nothing is given, remain content in the assurance and go about the task at hand. The realized presence has become the law of harmony to your affairs and to all who are within range of receptivity, not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit that now announces itself within you. This is our whole practice. Not many methods. 1. Turn within, be still, and wait until that inner yes, that holy quiet, appears. Then, and only then, trust it. Trust the invisible more than the visible. Trust the peace more than the pictures, and you will prove that when personal effort ceases and stillness is honored until assurance dawns, Christ, realized in your consciousness, acts as harmony, and the scene adjusts as naturally as a shadow follows the sun. Now, How shall you know that you have truly surrendered and not merely paused your worrying? You will not need to tell yourself you are peaceful. The body will tell the truth. The breath that you were taking by will begins to take itself. The knot unknots. The forehead lifts as if a hand passed over it. There is a subcellular settling, a hush in the nerves without your lecturing them. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not excitement, not a thrill, not a mental victory lap, just that causeless, weightless quiet in which urgency cannot stand. Be still and know. Then wait in that next. The grip on outcomes opens of itself. You find you can bless every possible form because you are no longer worshiping form. If the letter arrives today or next week, blessed. If the diagnosis says this or that, blessed. If the child phones now or in the morning, blessed. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. You are not fatalistic. You are free. The rope falls from your hand. You sense that whatever appears will be the Christ, being the Christ in some wise you may not yet see, and that is enough for now. Then there comes a quiet certainty that whispers, "It is done," while nothing has visibly moved. Do you see the paradox? Nothing out there has shifted, and yet the whole burden has been lifted. You are given grace to wait without watching the door. The impulse to push, to fix, to hurry, dies down as dew before the sun. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit that now announces itself in your midst. Watch also what happens to your view of the people involved. Where fear or resentment had been, there comes a tenderness not of your manufacturing. The landlord ceases to be the threat and is seen as a brother under the same grace. The doctor is no longer a verdict but a servant within the one life. The debtor, the rival, the estranged, something in you prays for them without plan. Father, forgive them, or simply, Father, thou art their life. This is not moral effort. It is the realized presence being itself as compassion. Finally, time loses its teeth. The clock stops ruling you. He that believeth shall not make haste. You notice you can wait an hour, a day, as guided, without that inner tapping of the foot. If action is given, it is easy. If no action is given, you are content to abide in God's rest. And in that rest, you will often find yourself turning within for a moment's recollection, unbidden, a six-breath Sabbath amid dishes or traffic, because peace has become your natural atmosphere. These are the measures. Do not manufacture them. Receive them. If they are not present, be honest. Sit down and start again. I of my own self can do nothing. Be still and know. Then wait until peace displaces urgency and grants you the grace to wait. In that moment, the realized Christ has taken the field, and harmony will show itself first as this peace, then as the natural outward adjustment that follows like a shadow follows the light. Now we bring this holy non-doing to the kitchen table and the front door, where love often disguises itself as fear and responsibility as control. Here are the household paradoxes. The more you try to keep a thing, the less of it you have. The moment you loose it, the Christ has room to be himself as the law of harmony. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, not as pious speech, but as living practice. So it is that we take the very ones and the very ledgers we have been gripping and lay them on the altar within. Your child stands at the crosswalk, and 100 imaginings race ahead of the light. Notice how the body tightens and the hand goes for the phone. Stop. Be still. This is the moment. Whisper, "This is God's child. Father, hold thy own." Then wait 30 seconds, if that is what is given, until there is that inner nod, that hush that says, "I am with thee." In that instant, You surrender possession and return the child to the one who is life. Suffer the little children to come unto me, not unto my anxiety, not unto my surveillance. When the assurance comes, you will find yourself blessing every step the child takes, and the walk home becomes a sacrament of trust rather than an errand of fear. Now, the jealous partner. The more you try to keep love, the faster it spends itself in your fingers. The policing, the second guessing, the searching of pockets and screens, this is worship of form, and it starves the heart. Let loose right now. Perfect love casteth out fear. Say within, my beloved is not my possession. We both live and move and have our being in God. Father, thou art the love between us. Then wait for the seal of peace. When it comes, you will not feel the need to fence or plead. You will find tenderness present without your managing, and in that atmosphere, love becomes a law to itself, free, clean, and faithful, because it is God being God as affection and trust. And the ledger that wakes you at night. Stop trying to demonstrate money. There is no supply in and of itself. Supply is a quality of God, use, service, flow. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Turn within and release the figures altogether. Father, thou art the only substance, the only activity, the only sufficiency. Be still until assurance appears. Then, very naturally, you may find waste falling away without effort, an overdue invoice remembered, an unlooked-for opportunity entering as if it had been waiting at the door, not by might, not by personal cleverness, but by the realized presence organizing as provision. Make this your practical step. Before you phone, plead, fix, or press pause, turn within, be still and know that I am God. Wait for the inner nod. He that believeth shall not make haste. If peace rises, move from it. If it does not, wait until it does. Acting from peace, you discover that what you had been trying to control appears of itself as harmony, because Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things: safety at the crosswalk, fidelity in the home, and order in the accounts appearing as the natural activity of God when you loose persons and outcomes into his keeping. Now, let us look at why these adjustments ripple beyond the circle of your own breath. Because there is only one soul in this room, one mind, one spirit. There are not many separated centers trying to beam help across a void. In him we live and move and have our being. The Christ realized here is the Christ realized everywhere that receptivity is present, not by pushing thought, not by sending energy, by being still until the activity of God announces itself in your midst, and then its peace becomes law wherever there is an ear to hear. How does help go forth? It doesn't go forth as your personal influence. I of mine own self can do nothing. Forget the person, forget the condition. Sit down and realize Christ within. Be still and know. Then wait until the inner assurance rises, sometimes like a soft warmth, sometimes as the simple word peace. When that happens, do you see the help is already accomplished? They will feel it without thinking of you, because consciousness is one. Your realized peace registers as a law of peace to the one who is open, whether across a table or an ocean. I have watched it 100 quiet times. A letter comes, my boy is lost to himself, or the pain has returned. I do not answer the letter. I do not take their names into the silence. I sit until the presence is felt. Often, before my pen has touched paper, another message arrives. Something lifted. He slept. Or a telephone rings as if timed to the very breath in which the peace appeared, and a voice says, "It is all right now." What happened? Not the triumph of correspondence, not the power of my thought. Christ Realized here was the law of harmony there. My peace I give unto you, not as a transmission from person to person, but as the one acting as all. So it is with you. If one you love is agitated, do not lean on them with lectures or silent persuading. That is mesmerism. We never influence. We bear witness. Withdraw the person from your mind and abide in God. There is one body and one spirit. Wait until assurance rises. Then go about your day. Do not check. Do not prod. Very often you will meet them later and they will say, for no reason, the fear left, and they will not think of you at all. Blessed be God. That is purity. And if you are asked to help a stranger, the rule is the same. No thought sending, no mental pushing, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Realize the presence as the life of all. When the peace appears, the work is done. Because consciousness is one, your realized peace becomes a law of peace to all who are open. Let God be God, and harmony will show itself without your managing, as naturally as a shadow follows the light. Now, after that first assurance has dawned, do not leave it to memory. Grace must be courted, not with effort, but with fidelity. Mark it. 6 hours from the moment peace entered, stop again. 2 minutes, 5 if given, no more is needed. Turn within. Father, thou art, and be still. We are not trying to recapture a mood. We are consenting again to the presence that is always here. This resets the compass. It anchors the new center so that what began as a visitation grows into an atmosphere. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Very often I have watched a day unfold this way. Dawn brings a sweet realization, and by noon the world's noise has crept back into the muscles. The 6-hour reset is the mercy of God for such days. You sit, you loose the ledger, the person, the headline. You do not review them, you release them. Be still and know, then wait. Even 30 honest seconds are holy if they carry that quiet yes from within. When it comes, you rise different, not with resolve, but with repose. The initiative of the day transfers, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. And in turbulent seasons, make it hourly, not as superstition or compulsion, but as watchfulness. What I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. On the hour, wherever you are in a meeting, over a sink, under a street light, let the mind tip inward like a cup receiving rain. No phrases, unless one is given. No mental pushing, only this, Father, thou art. Then silence, 10 breaths, perhaps only one. Wait for that slight loosening, the breath that takes itself, the hint of warmth that says, I am in the midst of thee, then go on. Do you see? This is not repetition. It is recollection. It is returning the reins to where they belong. As you live this rhythm, you will notice a paradox taking form. Less effort, more fruit. Doors you would have forced open yesterday swing of their own accord today, or else the path turns and you see you were knocking at the wrong house altogether. A call presents itself at the very minute you are free to take it. The email that felt urgent writes itself in one clear line instead of 16 revisions. You will sense that the activity of the Christ is taking over the initiative of your day, setting the appointments, canceling the needless journeys, composing the words before your tongue can shape them. It is the Father within me, he doeth the works. Let your outer steps issue only from this inner quiet. Do not outrun the peace that sent you. If you feel that rush to move without the seal of assurance, stop. He that believeth shall not make haste. Be still and know. Then wait. When the nod is given, go lightly. without strain, and you will prove again and again that grace stabilizes as you periodically return to stillness until peace ceases to be an event and becomes the air you breathe. Then the realized Christ stands as law of harmony through the whole span of your hours, and adjustment follows like a shadow following the light. Now, we say God is. We whisper it in the morning, hush, and then the world roars. The paper shouts camps and borders. The screen trembles with flags and fists. Neighbors glare over fences, and whole nations rehearse old grievances as if they were hymns. How do you match God is with a world that hates, divides, and wars? You can figure it out in the light of this teaching. God is, but Christ is a reality only where the Spirit of God is realized in you. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Not Christ somewhere, Christ here risen in your consciousness. Or else God is remains a sentence while the clamor keeps its throne. So our first work in the face of the world's noise is not to outshout it. Be still and know that I am God. Then wait. Do not argue with a headline. Do not compose a rebuttal to the border. Do not mentally rearrange the camps. Loose them. Release them into God. Turn from the images to the presence. Father, thou art the life of every man, woman, and child. Thou art the one soul of all peoples. Thou art the law of harmony in the midst of every jurisdiction. Be still. Then wait until there is that inward yes, that causeless peace that does not require a treaty to be real. When it comes sometimes as a warmth, sometimes as a simple breath that takes itself, you will have done the one thing needful. Spiritual reality appears in the world to the degree it is realized within consciousness. Begin there. Now, we do not deny facts. We behold them without bowing to them. We stand as witness to reality in the very place where the world reports unreality. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. To witness is not to whitewash. It is to look through the shouting to the presence that is the only law. In that beholding, compassion arises of itself, not as indignation, but as the quiet pressure of God. Then, if an outer step is given, it is grace moving, not anxiety sprinting. A letter writes itself with clean words, free of hatred. A gift is sent without inner trumpet. A hand is extended to the one beside you, whom the headline had made into an abstraction, or you are held in silence and do nothing outward at all, because he that believeth shall not make haste, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. If you hurry to fix the world without first realizing God in the midst of you, you add one more noise to the noise and call it help. If you stand still until peace has you, your very presence becomes a law of peace to any who are open. Because there is only one soul, one mind, your realized quiet will register as quiet where it is welcomed, even behind barbed wire, even across a border, even in a council room. They will not think of you. Blessed be God, my peace I give unto you. So when the world roars, begin within. Turn from the camps and the maps to the kingdom that is within you. Be still. Know. Wait. Let the inner assurance be your only mandate. Then let any service be overflow, never anxious activism, always the Christ, being the Christ as word, as deed, or as holy restraint. Thus will you prove, drop by drop, that God is, and that as Christ is realized in you, harmony appears as naturally as a shadow follows the light. Now, let us be very clear, because this way is simple, and therefore the mind is tempted to imitate it. Not every quiet is holy. There is a false quiet that is nothing but fatigue, apathy, or the anesthesia of avoidance. It mutes the nerves but does not lift the burden. You can identify it by its aftertaste, heaviness, dullness, the sense of postponement. That is not surrender. That is hiding. True peace is causeless, light, and it gives you grace to wait. It does not drug you. It frees you. My peace I give unto you, not the stupor of resignation, but the presence that loosens the will and sweetens the breath. Watch also the creep of outcome into prayer. We say, Thy will be done, while in the pocket of the heart a little stopwatch ticks. We half close the eyes, but keep one eye on the door. We sit to know God, yet the mind is counting. If I can get this peace in 5 minutes, the call will go better. That is bargaining, not surrender. He that believeth shall not make haste. If you are timing God, you are still trying to be God. So, what do we do when we catch these subtleties? We do not scold, we confess. I of my own self can do nothing. Say it until the shoulders drop. Then very simply we begin again. Be still and know that I am God. Then wait. No pushing, no phrases to force the door, no secret scheduling. Let the desire be single. One thing have I desired to know thee. Everything else will be added as it must, because Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things of appearing as order, where order is needed, as kindness, where kindness heals, as provision where flow belongs. And if agitation returns, and sometimes it will, as wind returns to rattle loose windows, do not make a project out of calming it. Do not punish the mind for being a mind. Gently renew the turning within. A 3-breath Sabbath in the middle of a sentence. Father, thou art, be still. Then wait. If the peace does not appear now, do not manufacture it. Be honest and sit down later. The practice is not performance. It is consent, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Here are your measures. If your peace leaves you irritable when someone interrupts, it was not peace. If your surrender depends on a specific email by noon, it was not surrender. If your listening secretly argues the case while posing as prayer, it was not listening. Drop the person, drop the clock, drop the script. Return to the altar within. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine, be done. Then wait until assurance, not numbness, arrives. When surrender ceases to be a performance and becomes humility before the living presence, the realized Christ again takes the field, and you will know it by this. Urgency fades, kindness rises, and outward adjustment follows like a shadow follows the light. Now let us make a covenant simple and holy. Choose one live concern, the nearest knot, the matter your fingers keep reaching to adjust. Place it on the altar within and say, for 7 days I will not manipulate you. I loose you and let you go. Father, thou art. This is not neglect, it is trust. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. You are not giving up, you are giving God room. For 7 days, no pushing, no rehearsing, no bargaining, only the practice we have learned. Turn within, be still, and wait until assurance appears. Here is your rhythm. Each morning, before the world speaks and before you speak to it, sit until peace registers. Not a minute count, a mandate. Remain until some sign, warmth, breath, that takes itself the quiet word, it is I, be not afraid, assures you that the Father is on the scene. Only then move into your day. At midday, renew it. 2 minutes, 5 if given. Be still and know that I am God. Then wait for the nod. In the evening, no petitions, only gratitude in silence. Not gratitude for outcomes, but for presence. My peace I give unto you. Let the day close in that hush. On the first day, make hourly micro pauses. Wherever you are, tip the mind inward like a cup into rain. Father, thou art. Be still. 1 breath, 3 at most. Wait for the slight loosening, then continue. As peace begins to hold of itself, taper the frequency. He that believeth shall not make haste. If action is given out of that peace, take it lightly. If no action is given, refuse to manufacture one, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Keep a clean rule for relationships tied to this concern. Bless, release, refuse to persuade. No lectures, no silent pushing, no strategic niceness. Perfect love casteth out fear. See your beloved, your colleague, your creditor in God. In him we live and move and have our being. Let love be law. Because there is only one soul, your realized peace becomes a law of peace to any who are open. They will feel it without thinking of you. Keep quietly a simple log, not to score yourself, but to witness God. Note the inner signs. The moment the breath took itself, the warmth, the uncaused smile, the word that rose unbidden. Note the outer harmonies that followed as naturally as a shadow follows the light. A call arriving unforced, a delay that proved protection, a door that closed without sting and revealed a better door beside it. Hide this record in your heart. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. On the 7th day, gather your notes and consecrate every future demonstration to the only demonstration. Say it aloud if you dare. There are no such things as many demonstrations. There is one, the realization of the Christ. I of my own self can do nothing. It is the Father within me. He doeth the works. Then lift the chosen concern once more and release it utterly. Father, thou art the law of harmony here. Be still, wait. Seal this week with willingness to live by inner assurance rather than effort, and you will taste the law. When effort stops, God acts first as peace displacing strain, then as outward adjustment following like a shadow follows the light.